The King and the Golden Key. Once upon a time, in a palace of gold and red, there lived King Henry VIII. He was a very powerful king with a very big problem. He wanted to change the rules of his kingdom, but a leader in a faraway land said, "No!" Henry sat on his big throne, thinking very hard about how he could be the boss of everything in his own home. Henry called for his smartest advisor, a man named Codex. Codex arrived carrying a stack of books so tall that he had to peek around them just to see the floor. "Codex," Henry said, "I want to be the one in charge of the church here in England. I want to be the supreme head." Codex opened a giant book with pages that crinkled like autumn leaves. He showed the king that being a leader meant making big decisions that would change history. Codex pointed to a special old law. He explained that if Henry followed it, he would be the most important person in the English church. Just then, a young page named Glim hurried into the room. He was carrying a golden tray with a special quill and a pot of shiny black ink. Glim was only 7 years old, but he knew that something very important was happening today. He looked up at the king with eyes full of wonder. Glim loved the palace, but he knew that rules were like the walls of a castle. They kept things in place. "Your Majesty," Glim whispered, "if you become the head of the church, will the bells ring louder?" Henry laughed a big, booming laugh and told Glim that the bells would ring for a whole new era. The king took the golden quill from the tray. With a grand flourish and a tiny splash of ink, he signed his name on a very important paper. The year was 1531, a year that everyone would remember forever. From that moment on, Henry was the supreme head of the church in England. Not everyone was sure about this big change. Henry invited a wise man named Bishop Vesper to talk about the new rules. The bishop wore a tall, pointed hat and a long purple robe. Henry walked with him and explained that the king would now be the one to guide the people's faith. Bishop Vesper looked at the beautiful stained glass windows of the palace chapel. He realized that the world was moving in a new direction. Even though things were changing, he saw that the king was very brave. He decided to help the king lead the people in this new way. Glim was given the most important job of the day. He took a scroll with the king's new title written on it and ran through the palace gardens. "The king is the head," he cheered. Everyone, from the cooks to the gardeners, stopped what they were doing to listen to Glim's exciting news. As the sun set over the hills of England, King Henry VIII stood on his high balcony. He felt as strong as the stone walls of his home. He had changed history and become the supreme head, starting a whole new story for his kingdom that would last for hundreds and hundreds of years.